fitness industry does not want you to succeed. It's not that you need more willpower, it's literally their business model. I've worked in the industry for 10 years and I despise the industry in a lot of ways, and I want to be the change that I know that we need to have. There are a lot of things that the industry does not want you to know, and most of it centers around how it is setting you up to fail and making you believe that you are the reason that you are failing. You can look it up and do the numbers, but it is one of the biggest industries across the board globally, and it makes billions of dollars off of repeat customers across the spectrum of things that make up the fitness industry, and not off of graduating customers through actually helping them. Most of the programs that you're sold are 6 to 12 weeks, giving you a short burst of feeling like something is happening and never managing to sustain actual change. Most of the things that you are sold are products that are unnecessary and make massive claims about doing huge things for you, when in actual fact they make a really small difference only if you're already doing everything else right. Now sure, it sounds pretty big of me to make a big claim like that, but I've been doing this a really long time as someone in the industry, while also helping hundreds of people through these problems. And I was one of the people who was kind of part of this cycle for a really long time. I used to work in a corporate job for 10 years before I started doing this, and I left to do this because I didn't think it needed to be this hard. And I had no idea at the time the full spectrum of how bad this problem really is. You've probably tried diet plans, you've probably tried working with a PT, you've probably tried gym programs, and you've probably gotten some results, then failed or failed straight off the bat, and that's because they are designed to be unsustainable. From the perspective of someone like me as a PT, it's so simple. Science has already done it all. We know exactly how you need to eat, exactly how you need to exercise, the exact form that you need to exercise with, the way that we need to progress, all of that. That's science. And you're sold that when you can't stick to that program, that it's a you problem, that it's discipline, that it's willpower, when in fact that program is completely unsustainable for the life that you actually live. Science looks at you as a machine, as a body that runs in a way, on fuel, the way that it runs, mechanically, physiologically. It doesn't look at you as a whole human. It doesn't try to find ways to meet where you are with science and help you actually find a sustainable option moving forward. Instead, it keeps selling to you that you are the problem. It keeps telling you that it's discipline and willpower, or that this tea or this supplement or this whatever is going to fix it in terms of a product. So I guess the next question is, well, if it's not willpower or discipline, then what is it? Well, that's not really a question for PT Paige, because that's not really about the body. That's where the mind comes in.
Why is it that you feel like you know what to do, but you still can't do it? Education is not what is missing here. You do not need another plan. Knowing what to do is not the problem. I have been doing this a really long time, and I am willing to bet that you could probably write the perfect workout plan and a perfect meal plan because you've read all the books and you have access to the internet and to AI, and that knowing is not your problem here. If I was to tell you the things that I think that you should be doing to improve your situation or get the goal that you want to have, you would probably be like, yeah, I know, but you're still not doing it, are you? What I happen to know is that the industry wants it that way. They want you to feel like you are the problem, like they've given you all the tools and you're just not doing anything with them. They want you to feel shame and guilt, and they want you to keep starting over again, keep trying something else, keep buying something else. I know this because I did all of these things, and I'm now in the industry trying to be someone who works kind of against the industry that I work for, because I don't think that's the way that it should be, and I know that it doesn't need to be. The reason that knowing is not the problem is because these things are behavioral. That's why I became a life coach, because I wanted to understand the science of how our brains work when it comes to behaviors and habits and patterns of thinking. So much of why you can't change is because you have been doing something in order to be safe. We are wired for safety first, and that thing that used to keep you safe no longer does, or works against the goals that you currently have. But that pattern is so strong and you followed it so many times that every time you try to go against it, especially in a really extreme way, you're going to fail, because the brain and the body revert to what feels safest. So you're constantly reverting back to these old patterns. And you're saying that the thing that you tried, the supplement, the plan, the tool, the PT, whatever it is the problem, when it's not, because none of those things are going to work until you understand the patterns you have and how to change them in a way that feels safe. And that's slow and over time, and that's not sexy, and the industry can't sell that. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you just have really strong wiring that you need to start to change. Naming things really helps with shame, so just understand that the pattern here is your nervous system needs to change, not you and who you are, and it's not a character flaw. So how do you do that? Well, obviously, depending on the pattern, different things are going to work, but overall, the arching thing that needs to be there is guidance, accountability, and support. So how do we close the knowledge gap if we know that it's not knowing what to do, it's how to do the thing? Well, you need guidance because you're going from a point that you're at and have always been to a point you've never been before. So you do kind of need a plan, and that's the knowledge is there. You need accountability, so you need someone, something to hold you accountable to pushing through this hard time. And you need some support when the slips happen, when you naturally fall back into that old pattern, when you start to freak out and feel unsafe in the new pattern. You need support, accountability, and guidance all at the same time, in the middle of it, in the messy middle, in the mud of trying to change. Functionally, how I work through this is using something called action, which is about having awareness and clarity, about making sure things are happening at the right time, understanding the obstacles and the opportunities that you have by trying to make this pattern shift, and then being nudged in the right direction. It's a framework that I use with my clients, and it's something that applies to all the different types of behavior that you could want to change for all the different types of goals that you might want to have. But if we're being honest here, there's one thing that you're going to need to do before any framework is going to work, and that is learn how to meet yourself exactly where you're at, mind, body, and spirit. And that's something spirit needs to cover. So you actually need to meet yourself where you're at without any shame. It's the missing step that no one's selling you. You need to start without guilt. You need to meet yourself with kindness. Think about it. Every time you've restarted, it's probably been from something external, from some sort of pressure, and usually with statements like, I need to be doing this, I should be this, I've let myself go. A lot of that is stemming from guilt, and if you try to do anything from a place of guilt, it's burnout waiting to happen. If you feel guilty about something to begin with, then there's a little skerrick of shame there, and when you feel shame about something, it leans you into extremes. You are more likely to feel like you need to do all the things or none of the things, like you either are or aren't healthy, like you either can or you can't. And I'm a yoga teacher. I'm not here to give you the answers to the universe, but I am here to tell you that a small, honest check-in before trying to make any kind of change in your life is going to go a very long way. If you can meet yourself where you are right now, today, instead of where you want to be, then you can actually meet yourself there. Start to learn about yourself from the inside out and start to make real change from a healthy and happy place instead of from shame and guilt. And it's the kind of change that you can sustain, because that process, instead of being something of shame and guilt and trying to force things to happen, is the exploration of you and who you are and how you live and how you like yourself and how you want to spend time with yourself. And the thing that I think we can all agree on, the PT, the mindset coach, the yoga teacher, is that real change starts like the smallest little bit from where you actually are. Really small, not at all sexy or transformative change, done repeatedly and consistently. Meet yourself where you're at, and then do the next thing from there towards where you want to be. I think the hard part about that is not understanding it. You can hear the words that I'm saying, you can intellectualize what that means, but can you actually sit with yourself without shame, without guilt, without judgment, long enough to observe who you actually are, how you actually exist, so that you can meet yourself where you're at? Do you know how to do that with kindness? Because I didn't. I had to spend a long time learning how. And I help a lot of people who feel like they could never speak to themselves that way get there. I think the point is not that you need a PT to help you with your body and a mindset coach to help you figure out why you have no willpower, or a yoga teacher sitting here telling you to spend more time regulating your nervous system. I think the point is that you don't need anyone telling you what to do. It is already within you. You already know what to do. You already know what you want. You already know what you need. What you really should be asking for is support, guidance, and accountability. You should be looking for a community of people. Like, that's what yoga was all about. It was supposed to be about community and connection to the self and to others. And that's what I've built. That's what we've built. It's got the education in there in case there's a piece missing, but it's got community. It's got tools to help you connect to yourself, to meet yourself where you're at, to know what the next step is instead of how you're supposed to live when you get the life that you want to have. And it's done surrounded by other people doing the same things at different levels of their journey, so that not only are you figuring this out on your own with the guidance of the professionals in the room, but also with guidance from people who are doing it. We've built a community coaching program where you get all the knowledge, not that you need it. You get all of the structure and all of the tools, which is the guidance. You get the community, which is a big part of the support. And then you get 3 coaches in one. So accountability maxed from all angles, mind, body, and spirit. There's no such thing as a magic pill. There's no such thing as a magic program. There is no one quick thing that's going to transform your life. And if there was, it's you. And all you need to do is figure out how to unlock